Hi there, my name's Joe Fernandez and I cover the AWC highlights for RaiderIO as well as do guide work for Skill Capped, and I'm a former BlizzCon champion from 2015. Today I will be going over my top 5 plays in this AWC Cup 2, highlighting big plays that can commonly happen lead into the third and final cup for this AWC season. So coming in at number 5 top play would have to be Echo versus Locked In, and not necessarily really a play, but seeing Echo get eliminated from the tournament before a top 4 spot, I think was a huge surprise for everyone, including myself. Obviously they lost to Dubop early in the upper bracket, which I wouldn't say was the biggest shock. Like, Dubop are performing very well and have been known to take down Echo previously, but this game did shock me from Locked In, being able to take them down 3-1 overall in the series, and it just looked really good for them. This BM Disc Priest Jungle Cleave honestly looked very strong into the RMP, mainly just sitting on Raikou and being such a good mage killer of a comp, you know, easily being able to force the icebox and just having overwhelming pressure that Mare would struggle to heal with, and Raikou, you know, just struggled living the whole time. The pressure was just so overwhelming that they eventually had to swap composition. The composition swap to Warrior Rogue Priest wasn't even able to cut it either, as Mare went on that Holy Priest, and Locked In were able to kind of wither the storm. Waz did insanely good plays to stay alive, but unfortunately Locked In were able to just eventually win on mana, win on pressure, taking down Mercy. My number 4 spot will go to YPPM being able to reverse sweep, control, alt, defeat. They just basically became a different team once Aiden locked in on that subtlety rogue, and I'm going to kind of showcase why that was. They were just basically able to get really good burst setups that could just dismantle them, and they didn't really have much to react with. Here you could see the healer without the trinket, just prone to a full blind. Did use that Iron Bark preemptively on the hunter, however Aiden knows this and is very smart with his swaps, goes onto the warrior who has no enraged regeneration, and they basically chain the CC, stunning up the warrior, using the fear on the hunter, and then the mage landing a beautiful polymorph on the druid, and with the burst damage onto warrior, there was just no way for him to survive, and they get a swift kill. Coming in at number 3, we have Drake being able to essentially just solo kill on that Feral Druid, and I'll break it down for you how he was able to do so. Basically, Liquid are on the brink of death, and Drake does a good job to get a Cyclone off here, cast it off on Trill, forcing out his Trinket, which means that he's basically prone to a stun, not having any defensive cooldowns. Drake knows that he's a very good kill target at this point, you know, Trinket in that Cyclone offensively, which will come back to bite him. As he drops Trill super low, stuns him up, and then does an excellent job here to stun Seedu, force his Trinket, and then immediately restun him on his Trinket, and just takes down Trill while Prev is sitting in a sheep. At number 2, I'm going to have to put it to Lontar, playing excellent, be able to mind read the game against Thesia. And basically a moment comes up where you have to have these kind of 4D chess maneuvers where you're just trying to outplay the enemy's movements. And here, basically, Thesia looking to get an Ice Wall, typically known for cutting off people so the healer can't keep up his teammates, and then looks for a kill. And in this particular moment, as you can see, the Ice Wall comes up, and typically a Disc Priest will look to Mass Dispel the Ice Wall because it breaks it, and then you can keep up the DPS partners. However, Thesia is known to basically have a cancel or a macro which would eliminate the Ice Wall and allow him to use his counter spell on Lontar, or the healer using Master Spell, basically shutting them down, and it could allow them to kill the DPS in these moments. However, Lontar knows about this, and he basically mind reads this from Thesia, simply looking to fake cast his Master Spell as it gets cancelled, fakes the CS from Thesia, and as you can see, Booster was super low here, but he keeps him alive due to that incredible fake cast. At the number 1 spot, it will definitely have to be Team Liquid's 2v3 against Ghostbusters. Now, if you've been watching for AWC for as long as I have, you'd know that 2v3 situations just don't happen. Like, they're super, super rare because a lot of multiple factors need to come into play for them to win a 2v3. And one kind of key consistency for a 2v3 to happen is that basically the team of 3 has to underestimate their opponents, thinking that the game is over when in actuality it just isn't. And that's kind of exactly what happens to Ghostbusters. They just think the game is over, looking for a kill onto Sea-Doo now that Sam-I-Am is dead and Sea-Doo has no mana. However, Flop kind of makes an uncharacteristic mistake here, pushing in, getting stunned in normal form, and doesn't actually have any defensive cooldowns. And then on the side of Sea-Doo, landing a beautiful double fear hit on Chun-Li and Dippy, they get this set up onto Flop where they can actually just take him down. So super well played by True and Sea-Doo to be able to get that kill and just kind of stay in the game and think, you know, maybe we can win this in a 2v3 situation and actually pull it off. At this stage as well, I will say that Sea-Doo is kind of out of mana and nearly out of defensive cooldowns. True has no defensive cooldowns either, using his smoke bomb defensive here just to try and wither the storm a little bit. Sea-Doo doing a good job keeping him up with what he can. And then at this point, Chun-Li, though, having no touch of karma, going to be super vulnerable once it fades. And he gets a kidney shot, and they're able to just take him down, surviving by the skin of their teeth, and winning this game. That covers all the big plays from AWC Cup 2. Make sure to tune into the 3rd and final cup for both regions this weekend, where you can expect more insane plays from our amazing competitors. As always, I'll be covering the AWC highlights on the RaiderIO website if you want to check out any action that you missed on.